What's up, guys? So today we're going to do an analysis of this 2v2 match. We're playing Discipline Priest Front Warrior, kind of a strange composition, but I thought this game was a great example of generating momentum, as well as learning when to turn the switch on and off of like playing aggressive versus playing defensive. So to start off the match, always trying to drive as much momentum as possible. As with Disc, being able to generate momentum is super important in all of these types of games, because if you can keep the momentum rolling, you could be able to heal without using big heals and just heal via atonement, which would allow you to kind of keep the ball rolling even more and save your mana ultimately in the end. So we had the Pharaoh here popping Berserk. Kind of strange, wasn't in a stun, so I try to fear it. He's stunned. Trinket's out, so I got to trade some defenses at this point. I got Fade off, I got Dome off. I find out here he's playing Convoke. I get a little scared there. I was trying to be greedy with it with the Dome. Couldn't end up getting through it, so I had to Trinket into a Desperate Prayer. Desperate Prayer is super good. Always try to utilize that as much as possible. So this was unfortunately not a good trade on the end of that Convoke, because I don't have anything. I don't have Trinket, I don't have PS. So at this point, if you guys are not familiar with Convoke, if you get in a situation where you're stuck without defensives, stack. You need to stack on your teammate, okay? Because you know, the more targets a Pharaoh has for the Convoke, the less likely you are to get bites, and the bites are obviously what's going to kill you. So we're going to try to just keep the game going here, trying to drive momentum. We're kind of put onto the back end really ever since that Convoke, because they got Earth Ellie out. They're just generating so much pressure, and you're going to see my mana gets drained very quickly because of that. So at this point, I'm just trying to recover without having to sacrifice too much mana. And it's super important. And once you realize that this game is going to be coming down to mana, make sure you're utilizing Solace. I see, you know, I've seen so many Disc Priests, whether I'm like facing them or playing with them, and you can look at how many hits on their Solace, and you can kind of figure out why they so quickly. So at this point, I'm trying to generate pressure by maybe setting up a boon. I am Kyrian here. So looking to open, I got sheared once, I had to deal with grounding. I'm trying to see if I can get a penance proc before I do a go, because there's a lot of cases where you're gonna have to even use boon offensively or defensively in a way. Obviously it's an offensive ability, but as this, you get to double dip the benefit on healing. So like you get the atonement healing on top of the Ascended Blast heal itself. So at this point, I got my penance proc, and now I'm looking to get a setup here. Pharaoh does not have Trinket. I'm Kyrian, or Cold Tyrian, so I do have a stun to utilize. So I'm gonna try to set up set up a go to kind of generate some pressure. I get a Haymaker off to the side into Boon Schism, Ascended Blast into a Penance, and then to another Ascended Blast. Get really close to death range. I try to death even though he wasn't in it, trying to preemptively do it. But fortunately, because of the boon speed, I was able to get to the shaman with a fear, because he was kind of panicking a little bit. So I was able to get it before he get a tremor off. See, now we have momentum rolling on our side. So my goal is to keep it going, keep up the atonements, keep the purging. Whenever you can fear, but keep the damage rolling. Because if the second I fall back on the defensive and go like try to MC and Shadow Man, then it just becomes very difficult. Try to kill the Cap Totem. Obviously, could not get it there. We're trying to keep up these atonements, throwing out some radiances whenever I can. Notice that the Druid's definitely trying to re-stealth here. He does have Convoke. I do have Trinket back up, so that whole middle time, on top of trying to do everything, I was trying to make sure we were stacking the whole time. I even typed in chat, I was like, stack. So we get another Berserk into Convoke. The guy does not cover it too well. We get a grip on it and be able to recover here. Schism. So these are the things that I think separate me from Disc Priests that are definitely trying to trying to learn the ropes here. It's a tough trade-off, man. Like, you have to do I use like these big penances offensively or defensively? You kind of have to just gauge the situation. And I have atonements up, and whenever possible, if it's like, even though he's at like 30-40% health, if I can use something offensively here, it's gonna be better, because it's gonna do it. Especially these big schism badge pendant one procs, like they're gonna do a lot of atonement healing on top of that, and it's always good. Like I said, momentum. If you use all of these penances, and honestly, a lot of these penances are overhealing at that point. If you are able to use them more offensively, you can just keep the ball rolling, and you need to generate pressure. So I get an offensive Schism Penance here, immediately duck behind the pillar so I can't get kicked on it. Kind of got pulled into a weird spot here. The Shaman's able to play a little bit more offensively on me. I get Hex, probably had time to death that. Unfortunately, I was forced to Trinket. That was a misplay on my part. Try to get my warrior out of this. Again, I want to keep this, as my mana is pretty shot at this point. And I noticed that the shaman is like a 75% mana or so. So I need to turn off the switch of like purge like crazy. I was doing a lot of purge in this game. That's something I love to do versus Arsham, because I've played Arsham and that was the most miserable thing ever. If you get spam purge on every single Earth Shield and Riptide, holy moly, your life is stressful. So at this point, we are just absolutely shot on mana, and now I gotta play a little bit more strategically. I gotta be looking for opportunities to drag the game out, but at the same time being conscious. So right now I'm noticing this guy, he has convoke in about 15 seconds. I don't have trinket. I'm in trouble, okay? So I use the meantime to try to get a little bit offensive, generate pressure to get him off me so that he can't get an ideal setup. So he leaps to me. Unfortunately, this was not a good dome. I thought he was going to go. The fact that he cloned him there, I thought he was going to go on me here. He still didn't have convoke just yet, so the dome was definitely a little bit early. But sometimes doing like cooldowns like this force them to stop for a minute, if that makes sense. So like he was going to stun go me right there, but because I domed, he's going to wait for the dome to end and get there. So at this point, I'm like, I gotta get my warrior to me, because he's going to convoke me and I'm going to be in trouble. So warrior luckily comes over to me. I was about to grip him if he didn't get there. So now we're stacked on the convoke. It's not a big deal. Warrior trinkets, warrior kicks it as well. So at that point, the shaman puts out an earthen wall. Gonna try to get him out of the earthen wall as best as I can. And again, I don't have mana. I need to try to just kite this game out, find any opportunity to drink, and make sure I'm pressing Solus on cooldown. So use any offensive. I had to cancel my Brawn there because it was keeping me in combat. Try to get a little bit of a sip. Unfortunately, he has Soul Shape back over to me. See if I can maybe sneak in a fear onto the shaman. Did I get it here? Got forced. This guy was grounding instead of tremor, so that was definitely an easy fear on my part. Gonna Radiance, see if I can generate a little more pressure here. I get a big Boon Ascended go with a Schism. This generated a lot of pressure here. Banging him here. Other than he gets a Tide down, use the next Ascended Blast to kill the Tide. Always kill those Tides. Try to just keep the damage going, because Boon Ascended can be such a lifesaver when it comes to being like, you know, pressured on mana, because you could do damage, you could do a lot of healing, and you're faster, so just everything becomes a little bit easier, and it's not mana intensive. Pharaoh walks away. I take any opportunity to hopefully get some distance and get a drink. All right, my warrior trinkets the convoke, which is awesome. Trinket kicks it. And now my warrior's really overextending here. I got very concerned here. This was a bad utilization. I used my one global there. I'm playing a very low haste build. I have 6% haste, so my globals are very short, or very long. And I used the Radiance before I even started casting. Actually, I could have just deathed that. That was just bad play on that part. This penance I was forced to use defensively. He does rally at the same time. I probably could have got away with it. But again, Solus every single time it's up. You Solus a totem, Solus a pet, whatever it may be. I get a Radiance or a penance proc, so I'm gonna try to get any offensive pressure as possible. Again, if you just play scared as disc, you're gonna get runned over. Like the pressure is just gonna become too much, honestly. So trying to just again keep the momentum going, doing damage, keeping the penances going. I am completely tapped at this point. So Solusing, I still have a minute until my next Shadow Fiend, so the mana is just gonna be rough. So I gotta try to play a little scared. He's got Convoke back up in 10 seconds. I don't have Trinket. I need to get to my warrior, just because this next one's gonna be brutal. So fortunately he kind of like read my mind there. He gets back over to me. Again, if you don't have anything to use, he convokes the warrior, which I personally don't think that was a good. He gets really low there. This is when it gets interesting. So he's very low. I'm trying to do the best I can. I did not get the death off on this, so I tried to use the Earth Lily to break my hex. Took a little bit longer than I would have liked. I get the Radiance off. I really need to heal him. He's gonna go for an in-cap clone on me. I get the Haymaker on it, which was awesome. Boon to the Ascended, and I'm going to try to use this boon to heal. Ascended Blast heals, reapply the Atonement so that my boon keeps going. I get a fear off, and he gets so incredibly low here. I actually just noticed that here. I did not even PI this. That was a misplay on my part. I've been able to get so many more globals off. But now my boon is gone. I don't know what. I have Rapture coming up in just a little bit, but I am completely tapped on mana. I'm down to 5%. My warrior gets a nice fear. He's just extremely low. I get a lucky Shadowman proc. Throwing in the penances. My Shadow Fiend is back up. I get Solus off, Shadow Fiend up. Now we can start getting some mana back. M-seeded to try to delay this game. Hopefully generate some more mana. Get him away. And then now I got to try to play offensive. Any sort of opportunity to play offensive. Be push it. Okay, the Druid. I see the Druid has Convoke up here, and I don't have Trinket, so I get a little scared here. I kind of use a little bit too much. I Desperate Prayer, Domed, and Fade, just to hopefully delay the game, and that was actually awesome. You know, obviously it seemed like a bit of a waste there, but now thinking back, because again, like I was kind of explaining before, because I popped all this stuff, I used all that stuff. The druid is less likely to kind of do the go, and it allowed my warrior to have a little bit of time. I got the dispel on him. He gets to intervene back to me, or the charge under warrior, or the feral. So now we're stacked again, and now the feral is not gonna. He can't convoke. Anytime I see him running away, I'm going for a drink. So luckily he didn't hit me too much. I got able to get some mana here. He does come over to me, and I do have Trinket now for this Convoke. I Trinketed. Unfortunately, I didn't have Fear. That would have been good if I save Fear. So I used Trinket and Penance to try to range it, because I play a lot of Convoke Druid, so I'm very familiar how Convoke works. And if you can just pull a little bit of range, the algorithm of Convoke's gonna tend to want to use more Wraths rather than Bites. So that's awesome. If I was that feral in that scenario, I would dip backwards, leap to him, or leap to myself, and then I would probably at least got one bite off there. So again, no mana. We luckily get a Fear. I'm going to try to set up a big go onto him. I get a Schism onto the Shaman. I was about to go on that decision why I switched there. So I was actually going to do the pressure onto the Feral, but luckily I didn't. You know, a thing I've learned, you know, especially playing against Shaman, is their mastery is super effective in times like this. So you don't want to be splitting too hard, because you know, even if both targets are like 20% health, they're going to be healing so much more because of their mastery. So I do get the Fear. I'm going to set up some damage onto the Shaman. His ground is gone. He probably could have sheared this at this point, but I get the Schism Penance off to spell my warrior, and just trying to keep pushing as much as I can. Solace is on cooldown. There's just so much. This is no mana for about 5 minutes. So this is where it gets scary. He gets a Berserk off with Sickle. I'm trying to juke the kick with the MC. I juke the kick. I get the Penance off, MCing him off. He incaps it. This is super scary. I got no mana, no healing. I gotta just try. But I do see the Shaman is low. I get a Fear. Luckily, the Shaman does not dispel his buddy. I get a Solace off. So this is a part of a misplay on my. Oh, he does get the reset. Yeah, that was a misplay on my part. Like, running back there, I definitely should have. You know, on this gap here, I definitely should have turned and threw a Purge of the Wicked onto the Feral to keep him from getting a restealth to get that stun off. But I was just trying my best to get a line. I even used Penance on myself for the extra movement speed. So now I'm spamming Boon. I know, like, I have nothing else. I have to use Boon for healing. I have no other defensives. I get the Boon off. I get a Penance proc. This is so good. I line up a Schism here right behind the pillar. Get the Ascended Blast into the Penance. And we get him down. Oh my goodness. It was such a stressful game. But we fortunately do get him down with no mana. There's about like 5 minutes with like virtually no mana. Just trying to play super elusive. And I thought this was a great example of like the beginning, of what not to do in the beginning, where we got forced on the defensive the whole time in the beginning. My mana was absolutely drained. I couldn't do anything. And then I tried to reverse the pressure, get the momentum going, do damage, and then ultimately have to play the mana game. So I have to play more defensive, play around Solaces. The only time I go in is a Solace. And yeah. Fortunately for us, we get it down. I get a Penance proc here. We're going to finish off this guy. Lots of Penance crits into the kill. But that was like such a stressful game of like back and forth. But there's this awesome example of, you know, how to alternate the momentum to go into your favor. So thanks for watching, guys.